Yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Mandalorian Reviews, Season 3. I am the World Walker, Travis Snail, and I'm joined by...
I'm Mask Off, Kirklin Patzer.
I'm Thrawn's coming, Taylorfield.
You said that like almost a very question, like, Thrawn's coming, Taylorfield. Do you have a question there, sir?
No, he's coming.
Okay. Also,
In this episode?
we were supposed to record something else before this, and we didn't end up doing that. Is that why there's no thumbnail up there, Taylor? Were you panicked? Because when we said that, you looked panicked. I was like, oh.
No, I had to make both. I was out crib shopping, so I didn't have time after work to
Crib
do
shopping. Oh, man. There we go. We'll have to talk about that this weekend because we will be recording a few episodes for the patrons. We'll be doing the originals where we talk about our lives, talk about some crib shopping. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about what we've been doing in our spare time, a project that some people know about. We'll give some behind-the-scene details, and then we'll be doing bread and butter. It's a little bit later, but still, just a week later, we're going to be talking about just franchise fatigue, if it's a thing. You know, you got Mando ratings been a little lower, Shazam, not the greatest. You know, Ant-Man has issues. There's other issues around Marvel and stuff like that. And we're going to talk about them. It's going to be a good conversation, and head over there because you get episodes ad-free, exclusive, and early. Right now, you can get Army of the Darkness Retro. Soon you'll be getting... Sorry, that gun was fucking with me. Soon you'll be getting... It was messing me up. Soon you'll be getting the Evil Dead 2013 one. You'll be in some more X-Men retros. Patrons, in the next 24 hours, you'll be getting the Super Mario Bros. Retrospective. Not the movie review, but the Super Mario Bros. Retrospective, because we're literally a week. We are a week away from Mushroom Kingdom. Here we come.
Chills.
We're coming. Yes, we're going to be doing that, a big review. And for people, okay, very early, but okay.
I jumped the gun.
Yeah, you jumped the gun. We will be reviewing Mando, back to the Mandalorian midnight review next week because we got Mario on the Wednesday. Obviously, it's a few days earlier, so we'll be dropping Mando early Wednesday morning, and then you'll get the Mario review on the Thursday. And then I guess because it's the stars, we should talk about we'll have to talk about on air. I'm not sure, Kirkland, what your Easter plans are, but we're going to find some way to cover the Star Wars celebration, whether it's the Friday, even if other stuff we cover later on, but we will at least be covering the big stuff there. So I don't know if it'll be the Friday, if the Saturday, the Sunday, the Monday, the Tuesday, whatever, we'll be covering some stuff. Hopefully we can try and do the Friday, because Friday's at least the film panel. And we got to see what those 3 movies we're getting. So excited to see what Kathleen Kennedy is going to drop on us, but and then, yes, a big thank you to our patron producers, Aaron Braden, Edward Darkness, Joshua Wright, Jack Grant. I don't know. There's some since we switched over StreamYard. This white seems whiter. Like it's more clear for me to read. I don't know what it is, but I like it. So, yeah, head over there. You can vote on stuff when it happens as far as Patreon polls. If you're a first-time joiner, like Jack Grant was last month, we will be doing Office Space sometime. I already told him sometime next month because we had already had March books. So you can go pick a movie for us to retro. And, yeah, just subscribe to all the feeds. Everything you need to know is down below, right, Taylor? Where can they find everything we promote, what we do, etc.?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook.
Yeah, and then it's going to be a good month. Obviously, April, we got Evil Dead Rise, we got Mario, we got Beau is Afraid, we got Sisu, which I'm excited. There's be some video games. You got May, and then soon before that, Indiana Jones, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Verse, The Flash. May to June is going to be a rocking good time. And was this a rocking good time? I don't know. Let's start with Mr. Field because he was not here for last week's episode. So you can give maybe a little synopsis of if you liked or didn't like last week, which I'm sure we know where you're on that camp. And then what did you think of this week, non-spoiler? Because I'm sure you had a great time with this one.
Ooh, last week just knocked it out of the park for me. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting anything that we got in that episode, but we got a little bit of Mando action, and we got Order 66 flashback, and those flashbacks, like I feel like I can really reciprocate with how Grogu was feeling in that situation. That hammer's beaten away, and I felt like I was getting that PTSD as well. Kelleran Beck, absolutely incredible. I love this so much. Getting these clone troopers just going off and getting HD high quality LAAT gunships was fantastic. Those sound effects pulled me right back to Attack of the Clones days. Oh my goodness, it was absolutely wonderful. Everything about this was great. Dual handle, like 2 lightsabers, like Kelleran Beck was fantastic, and I loved how's he gonna get off? He lands on this platform, and we got the Naboo guard. They don't question it. They're like, you know what? Fuck these clones. We're just gunning them down. Like, this was just great. I loved it. It was so wonderful. It felt very much like a good callback to Attack of the Clones in the sense where they managed to, I think their ship to escape Naboo on the Trade Federation was the same model ship that Keller and Beck used to escape here at Coruscant. So it's a good Naboo escape ship, I'd say. So. Fantastic episode. I've rewatched it at least like 4 times, I think, because it's just wonderful.
Holy.
Just wonderful. Oh,
I don't think I've ever seen a Mandalorian episode that many times. Probably any Disney Plus show, actually, 4 times for that matter.
it gets better. It hits peak on that 4th rewatch of that
Yeah,
episode.
okay.
So, yeah, definitely.
Is that that's when it finally gets good for me? Like, oh,
Yeah.
4.
Yeah. But yeah, with this episode, I was moving in, like I'm moving into these episodes getting like really jazzed because I feel like storylines are kind of coming together here and it's getting juicy. And this episode was no different. Had a great level of action. It felt like it felt like what I was expecting. Like I now that we kind of are wrapping up these storylines and getting into unexplored territory, I'm excited because it's gonna be leading to some cool things, I reckon. And there were a few surprises in this episode too that I was not expecting, but it's throwing coal into the fire, and I feel like it's
What surprises do you expect, though? You know, I feel like we've had this conversation before. You can't expect a surprise.
You can anticipate something
right,
that's
girls.
going to happen.
Let's say well. Because, like, again, hence my name, Thrawn's coming. You know, not a spoiler. Thrawn wasn't in this episode. It's fine. But
I feel like that spoils enough.
Spoiler.
now
Now someone listening to non-spoilers of this, now they're not surprised. That's ruining a surprise right
I'll
there.
tune in
Yeah.
next week then.
I would have been surprised.
I'm just when something like that were to happen, then that's a surprise. So, yes, I'm expecting it, but like I'm at the same time, like there's that percentage that it might not happen. So I'd be my own disappointment.
Yes, of course.
But no, I just think that the little bits of Star Wars canon that we got in this episode was wonderful. Like there were certain things that I was again not anticipating, but it was a pleasant surprise to see nonetheless. So. Yeah, I'm super high. A welcome surprise to be sure. I'm super high off this episode though.
How many times have you seen it? 4 times? Twice. Okay. 2 more
It's not
times.
reached that
maybe.
peak. Yeah. It's not reached
No.
Sentence or phrase you said, a disappointment I made myself, sounds like some track on Hinder's next album, you know? that
I was going to say describes a lot of my life, I feel.
disappointment I made myself. I'll go because I'm not sure where Kirklin, so maybe he'll we leave it up to surprise, and I'm sure just like way people feel Taylor's response is not too surprising, probably feel that way about me. I don't know. I don't. So I liked last week better. I had questions about last week and disappointments with last week, but I thought last week was a better episode. I don't really have too much to say on this one as far as in the positive route, because I feel like even the cool action Star Wars stuff they did was very lame and very pedestrian. It was like, there's a moment where we're getting certain characters doing something like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Here we go. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting the story stuff. I'm not getting the character development. I'm not getting the twists. I'm not getting great writing, but I'm going to get some cool Star Wars action. Like a couple episodes with the Bird Kid, right? Where it's like the Mandos are flying in the sky and all this stuff going. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get that. We had a group, I'll just say a group of Mandalorians together doing some stuff. It just felt very much like, do this. And just like, there was not anything cool or thought out. It was just a bunch of guys standing around shooting at stuff while they got shot at. And I feel like we even knew there was going to be one storyline that was going to be a specific, just kind of one episode storyline, but it just kind of felt like, I don't want to say filler because that's everyone's word, right? Filler. It just felt unimportant and it felt uneventful. That's what it could be. Other than it did give us, I'd say, a couple character, I'd say story progression beats. So that's good. But again, when we're in the last 2 minutes of this episode and the story's progressing and I go, we got 3 episodes left. That's where I go, well, I don't know what can be really salvaged from the season. I'm going to wait and see. But I think with this one, because we're halfway point, I really need this one to kind of, I don't need to say hit a home run, but do something really good or spectacular just to get me invested. And I feel like it hasn't. So I feel like this more so somehow, I don't think this is worse than the Boba Fett season, but I just feel like I'm going to remember Boba Fett more, probably because of our memes and stuff like that. But I just feel like this is going to be a very, very forgettable season. In 3 weeks, weeks from now, I'm gonna ask Kirklin to describe me the finale of Mandalorian, and unless something bad, like really crazy happened, he's not gonna remember a single fucking thing, and I'm not gonna either. I'm gonna be like, there is this guy, and they shot at something. Oh, and this guy, and there was this reference that Taylor really loved, but we didn't understand, and they used this guy to be like, look at this, isn't this cool? It's a Rebels character, you know. So I don't know. There's a bunch more. Look at this, and then the last few minutes they try to like do this hook, and I was like, oh, what we got? What's going on here? What's happening? And it's just literally something we memed about happened, and I went, oh, right, that's the writing of this show. We're like, oh, I bet they'll just do this again because they have no idea what to do, and they did it again, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I think there's one story that I talked about last week that I still think has potential to maybe raise this season above. And I don't even think the season's a fail for me, but at least make me remember something. But it's teetering on the edge because I don't know. I think it's the poor writing of, is it going somewhere? Or is the writing just that poor that I think it's going somewhere? And it really isn't. And it's just that basic. So yeah, I think other than a few what will be cool Star Wars tweets of character cameos, I don't think this episode did much. And I think maybe to Taylor's point that if this whole season is to set up a certain somebody, that's the MCU thing, right? You got to find the balance of a movie versus a setup movie. And you can sometimes still have a great setup movie, but there are ones where you go, this was just for setup. And that's what I'm worried this season's going to feel like this was just a setup to get to this big crossover or Ahsoka or Mando 4, you know, because this season alone has not had much substance. In this episode, probably it might be last for me of the season so far. Last or second last. I'd have to think about it. I don't think I'll be watching this season again, not let alone 4 times like Taylor Field. So I can't really rake it. It's just kind of in my gut. That's how I feel when I watch this. I went, meh. And again, not necessarily really bad, just uninspired, and it just feels kind of lazy and just like sleepwalking. So yeah, not the biggest fan for me, but I'm excited to talk about a few things that were either fun or some moments that happened. I think they tried to make some big stuff happen. I just don't think they're delivering it all. So Kirkland Batts, you're the middleman as always, Mr. Switzerland. How do you feel about episode 5, the pirate?
Yeah, I'll bring some spice to this mix that we're having already. I think I love this episode. I actually had a lot of fun with just the set pieces that were happening on screen. I feel like just the execution really worked for me. I was just in a good mood for what we got without getting too much into it in the spoiler-free section. But I really liked it, and I feel like there was some story elements of things that maybe I was doubting or criticizing if they went that direction, and I got hints of it in this episode, and I was kind of like, oh wow, like if they actually go in that direction, I think I will enjoy it, which I was kind of dismissing earlier on. Go into that a little bit further, in the spoiler section, but I think, I mean, just looking at like the execution, I feel like the CGI elements in this episode, they really looked good to my level, at least good enough for me to pass it in a Disney Plus show. I think a lot of moments really required like good CGI, and in my opinion, like they definitely pulled it off. I think there's like, I see your point, Travis, on like the big picture things. Like I probably won't have this season really like standing out on the big spectrum of the entire Mandalorian show, but I still think that this episode, especially coming off last week's episode, like I feel like it kind of just built upon what that episode was doing, and yeah, for me, like I totally. It sounds like after last week's episode, you went into like a certain direction where I went the opposite, and I really, really liked this episode a lot. And yeah, I don't know what else to say spoiler free wise, because a lot of the things that I have to talk about are like the story stuff that happened. But yeah, 3 episodes left. It does have me like a little bit maybe wanting more for the episodes that we have left, but I still think that they can kind of round it out in a satisfying way, at least for myself. And it's not like the whole story has to come to an end at the end of these next 3 episodes, or like at least for myself, I don't need like a big, like you guys keep, or maybe it was you, Travis, hinting towards like a possible cameo that might be coming or something. And I don't know if it's just my lack of knowledge, but I have no idea like what could possibly happen there. So Taylor's talking about anticipating a surprise. I'm not even anticipating a surprise, so I am definitely a victim that could get surprised as to what's to come. But yeah, overall, I really, really enjoyed this episode. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm a little bit hopeful going for the closeout of the season because I definitely started very mid to low, and I feel like last week's episode it had me pretty satisfied, and this one I was really riding a high. So I just feel like I'm kind of picking up this momentum. Could definitely just get deflated after one really really bad episode, but yeah, so far they got me.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to take our first ad break, and then we're going to talk about all these events and issues and structures with spoilers free. So we'll be right back. We're back. I guess not spoilers free. I said that I meant like freely, you know, and stuff like that. So I feel like there's 3 spots we can go. We can go with the pirate, we can go with the ending of the tease of the big bad, or we can go with Bo-Katan. Where do we want to go?
Let's go Bo.
So I want to get your opinion on what's going on with Bo. Obviously, there wasn't too much really last week, but like with this week, obviously, you know, she was just part of the mission here. Okay, and then you got the armor who want to have a solo one-on-one conversation, and she has this idea of wanting to unite the Mandalorians, and they want to retake Mandalore, and they have this grandiose plan and stuff like that. So what do you take? And even from the armor, like, are you taking this as a legitimate plan? Are you taking that there's deceitful things going on, or do you think it is literally just they want to put together the band back?
Every showcase of Mandalorians has always been divided and spread apart. So could they go that route again? Yes, and it would probably be very anticipated, like people are speculating. We're getting Mandalorians scheming against each other, different factions and whatnot. It's well warranted to suspect that. I don't personally suspect that, however, from this. I feel like there's sincerity. The armor has done nothing to give us cause to doubt her at this point. Through every season, and even Boba Fett, like, she has her old, ancient, this is the way, like, mindset mentality she adheres to. But as far as I'm concerned, she's delivered on every other thing. Like, you need to find, like, the Jedi, this and that. You need to go to the living waters. And when she's presented with this proof or this information, like, she runs with it, and she lets the people all speak together with her speaking hammer, which I thought was pretty cool. So I just think that, again, like, whatever kind of aesthetic of, like, treachery that might be coming off of her, I'm not really detecting it. Like, you can say, like, okay, when Bo comes into the picture, there's definitely that dilemma, a conflict of interest, maybe even I guess you could say, but I don't even feel like there's necessarily any conflict going on because Bo's just relinquishing her command, I felt like, and she was ready just to kind of like be a part and immersed and just taken aback by, hey, there's Mandalorians here and they're dedicated to the way of the Mandalore and these ancient practices and followings that her people are not so much on board with. Her people just, fucked off and went to become like bounty hunters and all.
Well, we don't know what they did.
Center.
We don't know what they did.
Well, they went off to go fight their own battles, right? That's why
we don't know
left
that,
alone. Well, that's what they said. That's what she said.
To
Nice.
fight their own battles? Was that a line?
Something like they went to go fight and fight pirates or
I
make
think
their
she's
own,
just
make
like
their
they
own
left.
way.
They
They
left.
would make their own way.
Smoke some
But even then, they left. That's more than enough to explain it there. Like they weren't the same Mandalorians that she is dealing with here with this group, and I think that's what's really instilled that a foundation for her again.
So why are they gonna come back now if they left?
Well, Mandalore's
think-
back.
I think it's things.
That easy.
Well, that's just it. I think things have really changed, and I like that the armor. What we're expecting to have a little bit more of an open conversation, the armor just kind of like passed off on it when Bo-Katan unveiled the Mythosaur. I like it in the context where the armor is probably spent like a few nights just kind of sitting on it and thinking on it and coming to
Pounding
this
it some.
realization.
Oh, yeah.
Pounding
Oh,
the
yeah.
hammer. Pounding the hammer,
In
yeah.
flashbacks to her as a youngling, like
Yeah,
thinking
so-
about the Mythosaur.
Now she's at this position
Stop
where...
drawing this shit. It's not real.
And I think even too, after seeing what the Mandalorians were able to do together when they liberated Navarro, I think too, it just added more fuel to the fire where she was able to think like, hey, we should rally up together. Like, yeah, we're going to be able to colonate part of the surface of the planet. We don't have to hide anymore. Let's really just start making something for ourselves and unite. Because again, the history of Mandalorians is divisiveness and being spread out and against each other with the factions. But let's see them actually finally unite. That would be great.
See, I think that's where I'm at odds with you because you say, like, why would we expect the armor to do anything bad? But I feel like every season we've talked about how she seems shady, and especially with season 2, they are especially like, and that I'm with many people that's been my problem with this season has been they are very much making season 2 them out to be very cult like and very like bad cult like that Din has to get away, and now it's just, oh no, they're cool, like it's fine. So they dropped to me all that interesting stuff. Even this season we were talking about that she's feeling like she's always a little off, and I feel like it's strange to not question anything from her. And maybe there's a change, and like I said, maybe they're just dropping that too, but we've definitely had conversations of her being not trustworthy as far as just like it's the way she carries herself, the way she is secretive, even if it is a good secretive, that's still secretive and hiding things, and whether you think it's a good or bad thing. I feel like we've talked about that, so that's why I can't be fully on board if we've seen no signs of her being
true, but
being iffy.
I'd say in retrospect now, I feel like the only real shady, like nastiness, aggressiveness is coming from Paz Vizsla when you look at like, because he's very much attached.
Yeah, but he's just a
side by side with
blockhead.
the
He's
armor.
not shady. He's a juice head. Like that's all he
True,
is.
but like he comes in like in again Book of Boba Fett, he challenges for the dark saber and he does all that kind of stuff. He has his like beefs with Din Djarin, and I think that's where we kind of get like maybe the cult is kind of like against Din Djarin at times from that sense, because the armor. And I keep thinking back on all these things, and she's really his like not his biggest fan, but just like, hey, like here, I'll make you whatever you need. Here's some weapons. Here's a jetpack. She's always trying to help him do what he needs to do.
But he's always brought back the stuff, right? It's not like she has this and she's giving them out to him. It's rewards for his tasks.
That's true.
To Grogu.
Mhm.
Yeah,
she
she
fitted
did
him
gift
out.
him. Yeah, she did fit him out.
What did she melt down again? I've forgotten. See, this is what's gonna happen with this season. What did she made him a little chest plate. What was
It's just some pieces that they had. Wasn't it
The
just
chest.
like,
Well, what is like she melt down to make it, or what?
Yeah,
did she
where
make?
did that come from?
Well, they got Beskar just kicking around. She's making
Oh,
helmets all this season
just
for
got
all
a
those
Beskar
foundlings.
Kick
Yeah.
around. Okay. Kirklin, I have some more points, but Kirklin, where are you as far as Hey MJ, ask that question this Thursday, GeekVerse 8 p.m. PST. We're gonna be doing a whole John Wick conversation. And S Bubs, I agree, all of Grief Carcass lines sound like an NPC. They sound like a hologram from Jedi Fallen Order. Absolutely. And I always got a kick at the guy who's listening to it, and it's like not looking at him, it's just looking down, like pretty much at his belly button, and he's just like looking down, like, oh yes. But where are you on, do you think this newfound idea of, hey, we're going to get everyone together is going to go well? Do you think the armor has just seen the light and she wants to get everyone together, or do you think there's some sort of mischievous means behind it?
I think I'd be a little disappointed if she just found the light and there was no
Me
no
too.
accessory. And this
And
is
I'm worried
something
we're going that way.
Well, I was alluding to this in the spoiler-free section, but early on the season, I think it was you, Travis, that brought up of just like, oh, like there's gonna be a turn with your armor or something. That conversation got brought up earlier in the season, or maybe even from last season. It was probably from the trailer actually, because they really focused it that way at least.
Yeah.
Her
And
accessory.
even in Boba Fett, they just like, it just felt like her conversation with Din. It was okay, you gotta go bathe and do all this stuff and everything like that, but it just felt very aggressive at times and things like that. So
And I was like super against that in the early stages, and now just maybe it was just stewing with the actual what are they, the convert. I always mess up
the
their name.
Concord.
The Concord. Yeah, I know we were fucking that up last time. Whatever they are, the group of
Kirkland made me wrong
Mandalorians.
last week. Come on.
The group of Mandalorians. They totally have my thought erased after the convert talk, but
Armor.
oh yeah, thank you. So like her accessory there, and just spending time with them, and maybe just her conversations with Bo-Katan, they really just have me maybe hungry for that kind of storyline, especially just the way that she brought Bo like to the side. I really took it how like when she was taking, I know she made a point of emphasis that taking off the helmet, she's kind of allowed to because she's walked both worlds, but I still just kind of thought that was like the Mandalorian test. Like she's gone through all these trials. It's like, hey, now take it off. And then
Imagine
just
if
like
she killed her right there, and that was the end of Bo-Katan. I
just
actually
headshots her. Yeah.
legitimately, I thought about that last, and I'm like, man, how pissed would Star Wars fans be if they just fucking kill Bo-Katan right here? There was 5% who thought, they might do it, and they didn't, but which is still weird.
Comes
It's like,
at her with a hammer.
yeah, that thing, yeah, which is still weird. Like I get the walk between both worlds, but does that mean when they join up together, wouldn't the other Mandalorians be allowed to take off their helmets too? Because they're technically walking in the other world as well now. Like,
And yeah, like I guess because like we should all come together, and she mentioned Mandalore. Maybe that'll just be the ideal thing that they have all these different factions of Mandalorians. That some are completely for like the way of the Mandalore and don't take off their helmets. Some still are Mandalorians, but they kind of see it differently. Kind of how you have like a sub faction of a religion, I guess. It's kind of the same idea, but like slightly different. But I don't know, just like the way that they were setting up in that cave, even though she got her to take off her helmet, I don't know. Like, I guess maybe I'm not fully into the belief that like that was a true test, but I still think there is some sussery there, and I think I don't know. I think also tying in with the Moff Gideon like escape and the Mandalorian thing there. Initially, I just kind of thought that was like a ruse that like this I don't know like the sus chick that clearly is still working for Moff Gideon. Like at first I thought it was her, but I still like this idea that it is this weird Mandalorian interference, and I do want it to be more complicated than maybe what they're pitching. And that's where like I was really interested in that, and that could totally just get erased next week's episode or even just the next remaining episode. So I'm gonna be a little bit cautious with those beliefs, but still I really liked how that overall scene was just done, how she just took her to the side. And like Taylor, even to your point there, like I also was thinking about maybe she did just stew over it over a few nights, pounding on her anvil, just thinking about the whole mythosaur thing. Because Travis, if you ask me in 3 weeks what I remember from this season, God, I hope I say mythosaur, because that is like a really big moment amongst like all of Star Wars. I don't know if they appear in the live or in the animated version, but this is there you go. Taylor shaking his head. So this is like the first time you actually see it, and I'm not a huge Star Wars head, but I still recognize the Mandalorian symbol, and I feel like a lot of people there do. So.
That's like you tell me though from House of Dragons, you remember the dragon. I'll be like, okay, you remember something, but like it's not, it's just an animal.
It's not called House of the Mythosaur though.
Not
House
yet.
of the Dragon.
One's
That's the new sideshow.
Yeah.
But overall, I really did like the whole armor stuff with Bo-Katan, and just how it's a little bit unclear. There was a lot of action and chaos going on in this episode with like different storylines than that too, so it was kind of fun to weave that in there, because maybe if it was the focus of the entire episode, I wouldn't have so many questions like I do. And it's kind of fun, going from week to week, having these thoughts and questions, making the show fun to follow. And that's not really the thought I had these last few weeks. It's like, oh yeah, Mandalorian's on again this week. There we go. But now I got questions I want answering.
And I agree with you, and I just want to see how it goes, because I am more on your side, where I think the interest is the Din and Bo with competing or like them on a team versus the army. Like I think the Mandalorians fighting is the way to go. I think that's how you can get Boba back into, I think it's weird. And also just canon wise, people could say maybe no, it doesn't matter. But like I feel like the Mandalorians getting just fully back together. And I guess this is because Lucasfilm Star Wars didn't plan anything, so it doesn't really matter. But I just thought it's a weird thought that if they did retake Mandalorian there together, that in the sequel trilogy it's just like it's a non-fact, like that's another anything that you could have explored or something like that. Like this would be something cool where it's like, hey, in the sequel trilogy we knew that they got back together, just a little side thing. No, and this is the story of that. So maybe it is. Maybe they just interact with the main sequel trilogy, so that's fine. I guess for me it's just if they just get together. I don't know I think that's interesting for a few episodes, because there'll be a couple tussles of, oh, I believe this way, and they'll get together, and then it's just, I think, more of what we got last night, which I was not, or this morning, whenever you watch it, I was not a fan of the action, which we'll get in there for Mandalorian. I thought it was very basic bitch and stuff like that, so that's why maybe them versus each other could be like a little better, like them doing jetpack fights in the air and all this stuff, and I think this show you could get more dynamics of the characters of, like, I just feel like Din is just like, people always joke about him just being like the flat, like, video game, like it's a Star Wars video game and he's guiding you through, but like he's literally that this season. He's just standing around, like taking us from one place to the next. And same thing with Bo. I know Taylor talks about, and I guess they did say they left, but I just feel like I still want to know why is she there. Like, I want a long conversation with a character to explain what is her motivations and headspace right now. And we don't really get that. It's just her going place to place, reacting to things. And even if she's lost, great. Let's get a fucking Katie Sackhoff's a great actor. Let's get a conversation. Let's get a monologue about how she's joining this group that she scoffed at last season, right? When she heard that Din was in that type of group with the helmet, they're cult like and stuff like that, she scoffed at that idea. To me, that would be like if I walked in a fucking church on Sunday, I think you guys would be like, "Hey, what happened? Like, why are you like this big church goer now and stuff like that?" And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I would just like to get the characters' motivations to know. Even with this, let's get everyone back together. I was expecting her to, okay, we're gonna get a good conversation with her in the armor, but it was just kind of the armor telling her to do stuff. And she did it, and she took off her helmet, and she smiled and was excited, and that was it. And I like the Bo-Katan character, so that's why I hope there is a division, because I think we would actually get some character moments here where I think Bo is just kind of around. She's not doing much, and I would like to know the headspace of, is it a good idea to put them all back together? Clearly it is, because she's going on this mission, so I don't know. I'm hoping there, and I also think with Vizsla and Armor, I feel like they have a sort of, I don't know. I think there's something going on there. I think he's become her like right-hand man. I think it wasn't a mistake. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that there is something with Pat. I'm hoping that he was the one that got Bo to go down there. He did that like fake out speech where he was pretty much fuck Mando, and then he's like, but Mando's right. I could see that being funny. But I'm hoping that's kind of like a plant for the Armor to be like I know you really feel that way, but like let's get Din even closer. I don't know, but like I said, I don't know even if I trust the writers right now to get that deep of a plot and stuff like that. Maybe it's been all this House of the Dragon news lately where I'm like, oh, I'd love some of that in Star Wars, and just just character development and interesting things that are not just we shoot green pirate guy, which is great, but I just thought the action wasn't great. So I'm hoping there's something with Bo and Armor, and just I want to. And now Bo's gone, so now I'm just like, when do we see her this season? Do we not see her to the end? Like, I feel like we wasted our chance with Bo, in my opinion.
With Paz Vizsla, I feel like all my I feel like he's just one with the family now after Bo-Katan saved his son and that big speech thing. It just seems like he's totally on the ride or die for I don't even know what side that would be, the side that's not against Din and Bo, I guess. I don't know, just from that moment it felt like a really, I don't know, just conclusion of that sussery. I could be very mistaken there. I am disappointed too, and I was gonna ask Taylor this of just like, are you, or even Travis, have you seen Clone Wars? Like, are you disappointed if they never tie in like the Bo-Katan versus the Vizsla fam? Because you were telling me a little bit about that, and it just seems like there was a moment in this episode when they were gonna speak upon that, and it was passed upon. I'm like, oh, they just don't even want to go down that rabbit hole at all. And I'm someone that had briefly heard about it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting story wise, but
like there was never really. The only issue that Bo-Katan had with the Vizsla clan, I'd say pre-Vizsla was like, hey, here's Darth Maul. Darth Maul has the same motivations that we do, and he's gonna help bring Mandalore to us. So let's work as a team. Bo-Katan didn't like that. So when Maul pulled a fast one on pre-Vizsla and defeated him in one-on-one combat, that's when Bo-Katan was like, no, I'm out. This isn't the way of the Mandalore. So I'm curious how we'll see the relationship unfold between the two, but I'm really not expecting a lot because I don't even know the relation between Paz and Pre. I don't think
it's just the name. Yeah,
it's just they're the same family name, family lineage, and I like that he called her. I think called her like Night Owl. I can't fully remember, but bitch, yeah. He addressed her. He addressed her by her one of her like clan names or whatever. One of the previous episodes, which I like. So, yeah, I don't think we're gonna get too much between the two.
Yeah, I was reading into it too much. I thought the names just were gonna mean a real big deal there, but.
I'm not disappointed because I didn't think they were going to go down that route. Okay. I thought when Taylor described them, oh, that's an interesting route you go down. Like, oh no, that they probably won't because it takes too much time.
It's only beneficial if you know, I guess, that and you can play headcanon.
No, I don't think so. If you make tension between the characters, that benefits the show, and that to me would have made this speech even better. Imagine that first episode when they meet and you have whatever history there is, and there's a little tension there, and even if Kirklin's right that this is just fully paused, has completely done the babyface turn, and he's good. I'm Team Din and Bo. I think that would have meant even more now if the week before he was kind of like, fuck her. Like we have history. I'm not a fan of her. Like I'm not a fan of what's with. Like I think it would have been much better just even for a week to have some tension and then be gone because it's cool to address it. And like you don't have to do like, well, only the Clone Wars fans. No, we've seen that in many shows where people can refer to someone of lineage and you get it right away and you can get that there's an issue there. So I wish they did that, but I don't think so.
I'd want it to be more spread then. I wouldn't want it to be like a week or 2 week thing. I'd love it if they, again, we're not getting it because it's out the window. But it would have been cool if they kind of like tiptoed that in where like Din Djarin's talking about Bo-Katan and Paz Vizsla like, oh, that bitch, as Kirklin said.
Yeah. Bitch out. Johnny Gone saying Armor and Paz are a couple. Ragnar is their kid calling it. I don't know if I'd love it, but I'd just love to see it. So you were right, Johnny. Sequel era TV show Ragnar. Oh God, please don't get me started. He'll get the banging and he'll have flashbacks to this episode and everything like that. Derpy, this was one of the better episodes of the season. I enjoyed this one, but 5 episodes in, we absolutely have nothing. have any motive and any reason for this season. Progression of the story isn't working. That's where I am too, Derpy. I don't think there's. I feel like it is trying to get us to the next thing, and maybe the next thing will be great, whether that's Mandalore put back together or whether that's. And there's other things we're going to talk about, of course. But go ahead, girl.
Well, I was just gonna pitch it here. Like, what if they actually get all these clans together and like just season ends, they're on Mandalore and it's just setting up all these faction tents and everything. They're really rebuilding.
They bomb them again. That's how the show ends.
Oh, that'd be honest.
Oh, we should have come back.
The pirates are just
we have more ships. Yeah, you're showing back to Mandalore. We know where you are.
Yeah. But like what if next season is just like basically Mandalore? Like that, like it's the show is called Mandalorian and all it is just like these factions Mandalore. It would be pretty bold because it would shift like the whole feel of the show of like going through the galaxy and all that stuff. But I still think that has a lot of potential of just having like a contained show on Mandalore. People might be disappointed that you're kind of in the one place, but it'd be going to Tatooine for basically every single show that's come out since. You still got Grogu too.
Well, I was going to say not to meme on S-Bubs. I think I would prefer that if they were to spin it off and someone else were to do that, because I feel like I don't think the Filoni,
Mandalorians,
even Favreau, I don't think the Mandalorian writers, I don't know what they would do with themselves if, hey, you can't leave a planet. Like, imagine this. They sat Favreau and Filoni down them. You can't leave a planet. You can't really introduce any new characters. You're going to get this set of Mandalorians and that's it. I would love to see them be like, hey, let's hash it out. But I think they would be like, what? Like what are we supposed to do? No Moff Gideon? I think they'd have no idea what to do. And that's, again, I get why people like that's the strength of the show. It's a Saturday morning to me adventure cartoon with our going planet to planet, fight to fight and stuff like that. So that's where I like that idea. I just I would prefer it somewhere else. Prefer it without the Grogu, because again, the same thing Grogu, like I don't know what they do. Yeah, exactly. They'd have Luke and Ahsoka flying to visit for 2 episodes.
We're taking Grogu.
Yeah, his training is not complete. It's a big standoff and stuff, and
that's the Andor route. I'd say that's where you're getting it there. You get like 3 episodes where he's in the prison, or like 4 episodes where he's on the planet planning the heist. That's where you kind of get that focus with those characters.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So now, do we think we see? Okay, I'm gonna say we see Bo again, but do you think it's not to like a last episode thing where it's like, oh, here's kind of a tease for next season, or do you think she gets brought into the main conflict? I'm kind of leaning towards. I'm not gonna say an end credit, but maybe the last episode she links back up the crew to help them. But I think she will. I can see it now. We're going to be fighting Moff or whatever the big problem is. It looks like we're dead to rights. And what's that in the sky? And it's Bo with a bunch of other fucking Mandalorians that all left her, but they're coming back because she says we're getting together. And that's what's going to fucking happen. I know it. I'm just telling you. But that's my prediction. She'll be in like the back half of the last episode with her Mando friends.
See, well, not to veer off too much there, but I feel like Moff isn't in a place to just be like ready for a full fleet, just ready to attack everyone. Like I feel like he's still
he always is
kind of licking his wounds and recuperating there. But for the question of Bo, I feel like I was gonna just like if you like quick questioned me, I would have just been like, oh yeah, we're gonna see here, not next episode, but penultimate leading into the finale. But now that I'm stewing on it for just like a minute here, I feel like, oof, I could definitely see in it being that end credit where it's just like, oh, we're getting. I don't think she's coming in to fight Moff, but I could definitely see it being leading to something, not necessarily even next season, just what that could be. I guess she is still very much tied to this story with the Mandalorian. So yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking it's gonna be that finale or late.
Like Espo says, they do the scene from Rise of Skywalker, but it's a Mandalorian. Just 3.1 billion Mandalorians showing up to post it. It's all over. It's over. What about you, Taylor? What's going to happen with Bo?
Honestly, if she comes back, saves the day with a bunch of Mandalorians, I'm so down for that. I just want to see Mandalorians everywhere. I'm on the opposite end of your stance there, where I really enjoyed the fight sequences, just seeing them drop out of the gauntlet fighter, seeing them use their arsenal of stuff that we only got to see really Django kind of use to a degree. So getting to really be immersed in, like, again, a group that's not fought like this and has no real expertise fighting like this, and is like diverting to Bo, and Bo's like, oh, we need to form like tight, close units here and 2 squads and just move through the town. I liked it, and I liked how they played certain other cheeky elements in there. But anyways, we'll talk more about that after. With Bo specifically, she goes off. She manages to recruit all those people, other Mandalorians. That's great. I want to see them bring in all the ships. They've looted all these Imperial warlords. Let's see the whole fleet show up. I am so down for this. Let's just make it happen. I'm ready.
She comes back, got nobody. Like, they all said no again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They asked me why I took off my helmet.
yeah. All right. Well, we'll take an ad break, and we'll transition into what we got teased this week or for the ending. We'll talk about everything else, of course, but we'll be right back. And we're back. So and we'll get into it. You had that New Republic guy. He's early in the episode. This is how the episode ends, and so we see some ship that was apparently taking Moff Gideon to trial that nobody in the galaxy is wondering where it is. No one's wondering why he didn't go to trial.
No, they did know, but it was classified. That was what they said.
Okay, but I'll withhold judgment then until next week to see some follow-up, but just because the way of just when he pulls up and he's like, this must be the ship transporting Moff Gideon, and then he's just like, he must have not even got to trial. And it's just like, okay, like I feel like we're reaching a lot of just this one guy happened to find this ship who's had experience with this already, and just I guess he didn't get to try. Like, there's not like a bigger widespread search yet that we'll know about, and that's why, okay, I'll withhold next week. We'll see. I think it was done in and I don't think I think it's gonna be what I say if like it's other New Republic people like, he's gone. Like, they're not gonna even question like, why didn't he not show up on Sunday for his hearing? They're like, I thought he was still coming. Yeah, exactly. One shuttle, no protection. Like, it's very what is it, like volume, easy hand wave of like, oh, he's a ship, he's out there, cool. And I spoiled the big surprise, but that's what it was. Of course, Moff Gideon, his ship's been bombarded, and now he's a free man, and he's out there. And I know what you're saying, Kirkland. I just feel like he has like a group of followers, just like Emperor Palpatine, that had like a ship in the ice that's just gonna break through, and he's gonna be at all power once again. Like, I think, and you even alluded to, right, that girl that's maybe gonna helping him. Now it's even worse because he'll have people inside the New Republic. Like, I feel like he'll be back to tip-top power right away. And this is what we talked about, and this is where I'm so disappointed a few weeks ago when we were talking about like, oh, what could be the antagonist? What's the end game? And I knew he was in this season, but I was hoping they'd use it for something else. Just the fact that it's going to be Moff Gideon again is just so boring and so repetitive. And it's just like, now it's season 3. This is going to be the finale again. He's going to get locked up. Like, there's nothing, like, we've seen it all. We've seen him be on the loose and escape. We've seen him get locked up. We've seen him die. Like, I just don't, unless they literally behead him, which, sure, then I'll golf clap, be like, okay, good, he's gone. But I just feel like we talked about this, and maybe not Taylor, because Taylor loves the show, but just like, I thought we were all kind of hoping like, oh, like, I hope they just don't go the Moff Gideon route, and they did, and I just don't have much interest in it right now. I just feel like we know where it's going because we've seen most of the stuff they've done. Maybe I'll be surprised, but I just feel like we have the trajectory of this season, and maybe it'll be their verse where this time he gets revenge on Mando, and God, the hook for season 4 is gonna be we gotta find Moff Gideon. I can see that already now that he escapes, and I hope not. But I just didn't have much interest in returning to him yet. Not ever, but just yet. Where each finale in the last 2 episodes have been us versus Moff Gideon, and okay, so what do you guys think?
He's like the Ganondorf of the Mandalorian. He just keeps coming back, the big bad. I definitely see your point. I feel like I was still enjoying the way that we were kind of coming to these conclusions, at least in the moment. So maybe that'll hit me, I don't know, the more I stew on it and just how we're going for the rest of this season. I did kind of like the just whole interaction like with the New Republic and just kind of the mindset that like the old threat's gone, so like we're focused on this. We've seen it many times, not even just in Star Wars, just in other entertainment avenues like that, where the new guard comes in and it was the original good guy because they were like the rebel or against like the big bad, but just like once it's established, you can definitely see the cracks kind of develop, and just yeah, I hate that character, the female sus agent who used to be an Imperial, and then now she's just like a high-ranking whatever.
Who's completely is always sus. Just like
always
everything
sus,
she says is there's no subtlety, and I actually don't blame the actress. I think they've directed her this way. There's no subtlety to think that this woman's reformed at all. You think she's gonna turn any second now.
Yeah, exactly. So although I don't love that, I do like the overall just. It's easier to look the other way in the situation of like Moff Gideon. Like, it is pretty ridiculous that like he was like this huge bad threat, and like his transport ship was just like missing, and no one even like really even like noticed. Like, come on, there, like that's a little bit ridiculous. But I still liked. I feel like I just really liked this the New Republic. Star fighter guy, whatever the hell you call him. He's definitely showed up multiple times in the past. I feel like Taylor's said his name so many times to me. Carson something. I forget his full lingo there. But
do you have his black figure, Taylor?
His what?
His black figure.
His Black Series figure. Black figure.
You gotta say series, Travis.
Yeah.
Yes. Everyone know what I thought.
Like I canceled over something like that.
Yeah. No, I don't think Star Wars is making. Oh, here's our black version of Luke Skywalker. No, I don't think they're doing that.
Got that
Sorry,
Luke Black Skywalker.
That'd be like a good sketch. Somewhere. Pardon me, ma'am. Oh, my son, he loves those black toys. The Black Series of whatever. Now I forgot his name. What is his name? Charles.
Carson.
Charles.
Charles
Carson.
I don't know his name. But no, I don't
It's like
have
Carson
it yet.
Teva or something.
I don't think they've made his figure yet. I definitely
they
now.
should.
I mean, Star Wars Celebration, they're probably going to announce it now. So
You think so?
Black Carson
yeah,
Teva.
Black Person, yeah.
That's how they fire Kathleen Kennedy. She says that on stage. Oh, look, the black figures, and then done finally. But
They sabotage her with the teleprompter.
You think they're going to announce that Star Celebration, a Black Series figure of him?
Usually it's Star Wars Celebration or Hasbro like does their toys like sessions where they
Pizza
unveil
Bet?
like new figures. Pizza Bet?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You're not that confident.
No,
on
it's too soon. It's too soon.
Yeah,
like I would have seen some promotional stuff already, but
No, they're gonna give
This guy
that.
takes a bet when he knows it's just
Yeah, what the hell's that? He's fucking like what is it? Pete Rose back in the day, like on the baseball team betting and everything like that. No, they're gonna announce a Black Series figure for the girl that Kirklin likes, that officer and stuff like that. But like we don't got anyone else,
They
but we
might
got.
already have actually. I have to look.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a good Kirkland Christmas Secret Santa gift.
Bill burning.
Just Shay opening that up, you guys like, oh, what is it? Oh, it's a Black Series figure of this character.
Fuck that character. Getting back to what I was talking about with Mr. Captain New Republic ship Carson Teva, I think is his
Carson
name.
Charles.
Carson Charles. That's not it. You're sabotaging me. I did just like him investigating. Yeah, it is pretty eye rolly that like the one guy that's investigating just comes across the ship. I don't know.
I had a
I feel
squabble
like,
with the girl earlier too, like same
I feel-
episode, right?
Yeah, no, true. So like when you do point these things out, it is pretty coinky dinky, but
But
I don't know.
It's like
I was-
Luke getting R2D2 and C3PO, is it not?
Oh,
That's
it's-
that's
Yeah,
Star
but
Wars
that-
MO.
there's a lot of Star Wars things like that that happen.
That doesn't make it good. That'd be like, I was cheated on. Like, oh yeah, but you were cheated on before too. Like,
But in
yeah.
the Star Wars universe, it's different then.
No, I don't. I hate that. I don't. Let's not go the prequel route. You're gonna try and tell me that I'm supposed to like Hayden Christensen's Annie building C-3PO, and then he
yeah.
somehow ends up with fucking Anakin. Absolutely, or Luke.
Amazing.
No, that's dumb stuff too. Continue. Charles Carson.
Yeah, so just like the I don't know, like the hidden threat that it's very early like Empire days, and I just love that stuff when just Sheev is just like plotting these things in the darkness, and here like the good guys are starting to like kind of see these patterns, or at least one of them. So that's just a fun concept to me. I feel like I really liked it in the moment, but the big decider is like what's to come with this, and if it is just a really flat Moff Gideon reappearance. I mean, I know he's coming, so that won't be a surprise, but it's just kind of like how far they go with it. Like, is he really just going to be the exact same again with all of his super troopers, whatever the hell they're called? I liked them at the time, but like seen it, you know, been there, done that. So it's kind of walking a fine line with me right now, at least with this stuff. I did like what I saw in this episode, but it could definitely be pushed in the other direction.
You're on the wait and see approach.
Yeah, wait and see.
Just to speak to, well, first things first, I suppose cheating is different in the Star Wars universe. I don't know. I don't live in the Star Wars universe. I just have the books and the movies to.
I would assume it's not.
I read that
because
book, actually. It's all about infidelity.
I would assume it's not, as Anakin thought Padme was having some with Obi-Wan Revenge of the Sith, and he was pretty mad about that. So, like, if you're in an open relationship, I think it's fine. But I
love
think
that thought. From Anakin's perspective, he's just so pissed. You're fucking
you
my
fucked my
boss.
wife. You fucked my wife. Well, legitimately, in the original script Revenge of the Sith, he took more of it out. But that was there. I think there was supposed to be a planned like love triangle, and Obi-Wan was supposed to actually have feelings for Padme. I'm happy they took that out because I never liked that scenario. But that was originally George, so I think that stuff stayed in there. George. Like, let's not keep it, but let's make that in Anakin's mind that Obi-Wan's just fucking his pregnant wife on the side. You fuck my pregnant wife?
Just Obi-Wan's child comes with a big beard.
Blue lightsaber in hand. I guess I go with blue. Damn it.
So looking at now, like with the shuttle and everything going on here, yeah, with Gideon coming back, my excitement stems from how he's going to be coming back, like certain appearance and certain changes he's making to improve after the last time. Because you're definitely right, Travis. We've gotten to see him in both lights, and he got defeated. So how can you bring back a villain that was defeated and trying to change up that narrative and make him an edgy villain? I guess it's easier said than done. So what's up?
I know exactly what Travis is thinking.
I don't know what you think I'm thinking. I was just waiting for something to pop up behind you now the lights went out. Kirklin's lights went, and then
it's the feet that dropped behind him.
Yeah, and then Taylor stopped talking for a second. And he looked like he was getting force choked, but you know,
I stopped talking for a second.
just for a second.
Oh shit. So yeah,
Touch Padme.
He's breaking my heart.
I do think though that, hence my name, Thrawn is coming. He's gonna appear here. I think he's the main big bad. I think he's pulling the strings for Gideon. He got Gideon out of there. They just
planted the Beskar.
Well, I don't necessarily think that the Beskar is planted. When it comes to that was an interesting twist. And I mentioned this in Star Wars Alliance earlier when they were doing their review for the episode. They're Imperial Super Commandos, which again was like a clan of Mandalorians that defected and were like, we roll with the Empire now. So they joined up with them, and they had Mandalorian Imperial like armor. And it would totally fit for them to kind of come in and save Gideon when you think about it. So that's kind of where I'm putting my feet down onto that pedestal. But it's not out of the question that another group of Mandalorians decided to Thrawn's coming. It's not out of the question that another group of Mandalorians could be, screw the New Republic. Let's go in. Let's just take Gideon and deal justice on our own terms. But whatever's going on, there is some conspiracy stuff high up, and I like it. I love seeing how crappy the New Republic is.
What's
high up? Is like Supreme Chancellor levels high up, because whatever's going on here, like the New Republic is just like, it's shit. It's just collapsing already, and I love seeing this. seeing where we get to a point where in the future the sequel trilogy has the New Republic just fucking they're there and then they're not. They get bombed. Hosnian Prime done. Just a fucking speck in space. So now
That's just why I can't. That's just why I can't. I think you're right that there's something interesting about the New Republic kind of screwing up, but I think it's just going to be explored in like this extra canon stuff because that was one of our biggest complaints. Like no matter what they try to do padding wise, they can never go back and add that in the sequel trilogy, right? Like we
Yeah.
can have that in the background of our minds now, but it's just like we didn't meet the New Republic was just the good guys that were fighting the First Order again, you know. So I wish there would have been something more about the incompetence. Again, the biggest thing I hate too from that is just like how Leia like lost some power when everyone found out Vader was her dad and was like, that's fucked up. Like we don't know if we can trust her. Like there's again, that's a whole nother conversation. But there is stuff, the ideas that I like around that. It's just it sucks because like you say, that really goes nowhere because they just get blown up. It's not like that was their downfall, was the bad government. It was just no, they got blown up and Palpatine was hiding out in some ice, you know.
Yeah. Sorry.
Taylor's clearly not paying attention at all.
brought some
Wow,
things
just brought some things.
I got the whole
Potatoes.
potatoes.
Mash them, stick them, stew.
I where was I with that though? I do think again,
Oh,
yeah,
you're
Thrawn's coming. Thrawn's coming. But with Gideon, he's got the most
that up
screen
there.
time out of all his other appearances, and this is the season.
The next 3 episodes are like the Mandalorian Boba Fett episodes where it's just Moff Gideon. We don't even see Mando for the rest of the season.
It's where he's been. That's the next like.
Back in the tank.
One episode's full of him in prison trying to break out like Andor and everything, and we're just like, we don't give a fuck. It's Moff Gideon. He's a
Andy
bad
Serkis
guy.
is there for some reason. Just different character.
I couldn't swim. No, because he couldn't swim. Remember? So he got locked back up.
He's like really old, big beard and frail. He's like that old guy that just couldn't do it.
12
They're
hours.
still making stuff, but for the New Republic.
yeah, for the Starkiller Base. Remember?
Oh yeah.
A bigger Death Star.
I think that. I mean, it's good you mentioned Circular Base. 'Cause that's an important thing here. You have the different
course.
Imperial remnants that are formulating and planning. And Gideon, as far as I'm concerned, I don't feel like he is a part of the First Order group plan or whatever. Or maybe he is and he's supposed to just keep fucking with Mandalore. I don't know. But whatever he's doing, I feel like it's his own MO. And when you Starkiller's coming, when you factor into the again just how that one episode with the TIE interceptors, everything going on there on Mandalore, or I guess the moon of Mandalore. There's some shit going on that's bigger than Gideon, I would say. So yeah.
I did like when the New Republic officer or Captain Starfighter, or whatever the hell he was just mentioning those things of how you have like just TIE fighters and on Navarro there were stormtroopers in the streets, just like all these things that like should be like the New Republic people, they should know what that threat represents and just how big of a deal that really should have been. I also just love, for the most part, that entire sequence. I forget what the actor's name is that was playing like that other New Republic guy, but I've seen him in just
Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows. I feel like I've just seen him
it's
in
a
like so
lady.
many. I feel like I've just seen him in so many comedies, and I just. But as soon as I saw him, I just laughed because I love him in those comedies, and it just kind of took me out of it because I'm like, is this guy's in Star Wars? Like, really? Like, I just see him from his like previous roles, which is kind of, it kind of sucks for like myself bringing that into it because he is, he's a good actor. And by the end of that sequence, I definitely saw him as just like that character, maybe behind the mask of the other characters that I've seen because he's just so damn good.
Don't touch that stuff, Dewey Cox. It'll fuck you up.
Oh
Big shout out
man,
to
in
Cox.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine too, he plays this like cannibal type character, but he's like super friendly, but every once in a while he'll just like jump at you and like try and eat you or something. Fuck, that's just what I saw during that scene, and he's such a delight. So it was kind of fun to see him in there.
You've made me want to go watch that. I've never seen that show, but I love Tim Meadows. It didn't work for me because it took me out of the whole scene because I was just from SNL to Ladies Man to Mean Girls to like everything.
Mean Girls, that's the other big one.
Everything in between. Like I said, Dewey Cox. Everyone's seen that, one of his best roles, man. It's just like he's just so druggy, and I couldn't get into it. And I think that I agree with you. I know it sucks, but it's also up to the casting director. It's like the Danny Trejo thing, right? Where all I see is Trejo, and it's not that he's bad. I just like. I just couldn't help but like laugh when Tim Meadows is there, you know. But luckily, there might be even people like even S Bubs if you're in the chat because you're younger. Let us know. Did you know who the Tim Meadows is before yesterday? Like, let us. And that's not an insult. Just mean like there's gonna be some people that won't have that affiliation with him, right? Where we grew up with him in the '90s, like throughout. So,
Oh, absolutely.
anything we want to talk about the girl? The your favorite character, Kirklin, before we move on, because I feel like we kind of touched we've touched on it a few times. I don't have much to add than like I said, other than I just feel like they're making her as subtle as a shotgun. I get what they're trying to do. I don't mind them having a plan.
Slithers into the room. What are you talking about? Talking about
Yeah.
Navarro?
Well, actually, I think some of our methods could be quite useful. It's like your methods where you fucking slave people and like like Tim Meadows never like pushes back. I was liberated. It's just like it just feels so fake. So for me, I actually like the idea of the character. I just think they're executing it very poorly. They're executing it much like they do in animated stuff, which to me is like what sometimes Filoni falls into, where I feel like they're trying to, hey, this could be for kids. We have to make it very obvious. And in those shows, I kind of give it a hand wave, you know. But with this, I'm like, I get what they're going for. Make it a little believable. So you go like, is she with this? Is she not? But no, they're not doing it. And then S-Pub says, yeah, I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. Okay, good. He's great in the Goldbergs. They watch the Goldbergs super bad, Mike, but I know people like it. So there you go. And I was wrong about S-Bubs.
When it comes to that former Imperial officer, yeah, she's super shady. But again, I think they're intentionally laying that out there.
Need anything from the break room?
She's not even shady. She's like in that X-Men retro we talked about where the guy talks about, look at me, I'm sick. Like she's like, look at me, I'm a brat. Like she's not super shady. She is the shade. Like there's nothing questionable about
It's so
her.
dark in here. Oh, it's her.
Oh, Tara walked in the room.
It's not a takeaway for me. I'm still like
Tara's coming.
as far as I'm concerned, she's protected under this like reintegration program or whatever that the New Republic has instilled. And if you're like she what's that saying? Like you quack like a duck, you walk like a duck, or waddle like a duck, or whatever. But you have your own MO. You fuck like a duck, yeah. You have your own MO, and I think that's exactly it. Like she's weeding out, you know, Imperials who are still maybe again not totally conformed, and she's using that to further her own stance and position in the New Republic. Like, hey, I'm doing good. Like, I'm helping you guys. So she's got her own personal agenda. Obviously, she's moving ahead with it, and yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what she really is able to do in this position, especially when you have characters that are throwing her, like throwing her under the bus. Like, oh, well, yeah, your ways, the way you did it, you imperialist or whatnot. Like, our Carson Teva
Spits
pilot.
on her.
Yeah, it was just kind of like
Carson Gordon was his name.
Carson Charles.
Carson Charles, right? Yeah,
like
he pretty
he
much
was
just looks like he
covering
wants to call her a C word the whole conversation. Like he looks like he wants to say it, but he can't. So, do you know her
Headbutts
name,
her.
Taylor?
I don't know her name. No.
Yeah, no. Someone in the chat let us know her name, please. But all right. Yep.
There's one more thing. With the New Republic, they mentioned this in one of the previous episodes, but it's evident here too with how they were talking about not being able to really divert resources to help Navarro. The fact that they're decommissioning the New Republic fleet because they don't want to be a militarized armament, like governing body, which I think that it just all of that just feels very in line with like legend stories and stuff like that, and it makes sense too with where we got in the sequel trilogy. But that bothers me so much. It's just this blind eye that the New Republic is just blatantly like distilling out there.
So
and again,
dumb.
it is dumb. And what do you have to show for this? Like you have these politicians, which we saw 2 episodes ago. Well, maybe they're not even politicians. They're just rich people. They're the ones calling the shots. They're the ones making all of these decisions and whatnot, I'd say. And whether you're an empire, whether you're New Republic, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the money that speaks. Now, how does DJ say that or JD?
Dwayne
DJ?
Johnson?
No,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
in
Yeah.
Last Jedi.
That's who I know.
The
DJ is.
The splicer. He says like what does he say? Live free, don't join, or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
because his name's DJ. Remember?
it is DJ.
Dwayne
Isn't
Johnson.
it?
Yeah, don't join.
Don't join. Right? Yeah. There we go.
Are you serious? That's what that's supposed to be?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
Dwayne Johnson's name too.
Some of Ryan,
Dwayne Johnson.
yeah, some of Ryan Johnson's best acting. Aaliyah Kane is her name. Okay, that's definitely a villain name. Filoni took evil.
I 100%
and
thought it
replaced
was
it with
Tara
one
when you
level.
were saying that.
She looks like a Tara, you know,
Yeah,
like
she
I'm
does.
just saying, but yeah. TJ. What's The Rock saying about Star Wars? Taylor, we can still see you eat. Whatever you're trying to do there off to the side.
No, I
It's
know you
not-
can see me.
You're as subtle as
crunching.
Leela Kane, you know?
I'm
There's a
crunching,
mute
I'm
button. There's a
crunching.
mute button. Okay, anyway, so we talked about that. That kind of was in the middle portion. Yeah, we knew this was coming, a space pirate episode where he's going to come back and fuck up everybody. He came to Navarro.
I laughed so hard. Just how
I laughed so much.
It's a tragic event for the people of Navarro, and I was just like, man, why the fuck did Grief just let that guy go? Like this whole fucking town just got like nuked by these pirates for this like one badass moment of like, you get it, you get your ass out of here and go tell them that there's a new
Tell the
sheriff in
Grief
town.
Karga sent you. And like my favorite thing is they bomb the place and then they cut to them all in like the school pub. It's like this is all it was over. Just this fucking pub. Like again, you're not telling me there's not a single pub that was put in Navarro. It's just gone. Build
This is
a
where we
fucking
drink.
pub. Yeah. Build a fucking like all of it's dumb. Like what Kirkland and me brought out with Grief for these pirates to be so obsessed with this bar spot. It's like, and they lost their lives over it now. They're dead. The fucking swamp thing looking guy crashed. Oh, and he blew up. He's gone. This whole storyline's done. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I was just kind of honestly sadly laughing because I was just like, Grief did this. Like, when he's like, let's go. Everyone's just like, it's your fault, dude. But yeah, I did not. This to me was very bad Clone Wars. I know Taylor likes some of the action. I don't know much to say. I'm not going to rag on it. I just felt like I said before, there'd be a few things, but most of it was there was a wall. Mandos would stand behind it. Then there was like another piece of structure wall. The bad guy pirate would stand behind it, and just lots of shooting. And that was just kind of it. So I wish they kind of had the action that they had a couple episodes ago, because like I said, that really impressed me. And yeah, sure, they dropped to the ship. That's cool and all, but that's nothing creative to think of. Like I feel like we could have wrote, and they drop out of a ship. Like, oh shit! Like I was expecting all of them descending on a town. I'm like, fuck, we're gonna get some grade A stuff here, and we got like a C. It's for me. So, but yeah, I had a good time as far as ironically with this whole storyline. And yeah, Pirate's dead. We knew that was gonna happen. He was a nothing character. I wish they would have gave him like a little bit more time, but yeah.
This was also like where this has happened so many things in Star Wars, and I should just be wiser now of like, and I feel like I usually am like able to digest the whole just taking over a planet idea, even though it's like really just the one like settlement that they're on, you know, like with Coruscant. I feel like I only ever see like the one section of Coruscant, but still it's a whole planet, which is like fine. Like I feel like I've totally accepted that now. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. That's not what I'm talking about right now, Mr. Chuckles over there.
He's right though. Thousands of fatality while Grief Karga was quipping. It's
So yeah, the whole idea of just like the planet and the scale of Star Wars just being this thing, I've just accepted it by this point. There has been some moments where it's shined and like been maybe harder to just accept than others, and I feel like in this episode definitely happened with just the single pirate ship taking over this entire planet. And like it is fine because like I just see Navarro, or sorry, like from what I feel like just like the city of Navarro, even though it's the whole planet, and it's just Grief there. But like you just have, and maybe the entire thing's barren, maybe that's the whole point, but just having this like one pirate ship that just took over this entire planet was just it was one of those moments when it was a little bit jarring for me to get my head wrapped around. And I mean, like maybe there was just a mass genocide, but I feel like the survivors that like went with Grief like at the end, like they kind of had like an interesting camera shot to like try and hide like a crowd, because it seemed like they only had like 20 or so people
Yeah,
that
it
were
was
with him.
either there was many people in that town, or they killed a lot of people, which really just they didn't have enough money for, or they just didn't want to pay that many extras. But then they killed a lot
Yeah.
of people.
And like the New Republic X-wing fighter pilot was just like, oh no, like we need backup to go save the day and all these things. And I'm like, for part of me, I'm like, this one guy's just gonna solo it, and like that's gonna be the mission. And I truly believe he probably could have with how talented I know he is, and just there was a lot of pirates and all that stuff. But I don't know, just the scale of it really wasn't executed cleanly in my opinion on this. And maybe I'm just kind of getting too picky there, because there is moments in Star Wars when although I know it's just like the planet, even though it just seems like a much smaller situation, it's easier for me to accept. But this is one that not so much. Yeah, there you go. So there would have been more. There would have been more with the group. They were just getting domed.
We saw people getting hit by the ship's lasers in town. They were flying.
And Grief's just quipping, like Spubs was saying.
Yeah, and Superman Mike's right about this. Most Star Wars planets just have one town, so
No, yeah, very true. But I feel like if there was like even like 6 more like pirate ships or something, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
they're taking over the planet. Like I get it, they're hitting the strategic spots, but it's just like Man-Thing and his crew of pirates, which as soon as I saw the ship, I was like, oh yeah, that is a badass looking ship for sure. But it's a little short lived there.
Dave Phil.
I think you have two, like its capabilities to deploy, like a full squadron of fighters that were able to launch from there too, which is pretty cool. Like orbital bombardment guns too, which is pretty gnarly. So this thing apparently it's got town blockade capabilities, I guess. Yeah, the whole fight, I really enjoyed it. Just getting to see the Mandalorians finally getting to work as a team. We haven't seen these Mandalorians square off in battle since I think one of the first episodes of season 1. So here they are going to town, and it's just fantastic. There definitely were a lot less townspeople than I thought there was. That was one of the biggest things and cons that I noted out of this. But then again, there were some townspeople still in the town serving and catering to the pirates, and the pirates were being dicks to them and all that. I really like I think they're Quakian lizard monkeys, what they're called, when the Mandalorians, like the squad's moving through the alley and the monkey points to the side and the Mandalorians like, we got an ambush up ahead. I like that. It's cool to see those guys not be a dick, because I've only known them as being dicks. So very nice touch. Yeah, just getting to see how the Mandalorians really popped off here was great. And again, we got to see the Armorer fight too, which is always a good time. I love seeing her pop off. She just decked those guys. Like, we know that her hammer can smash a stormtrooper's helmet. So some of those pirates took that hammer to the jaw, like the head. You just know that that's a done deal. So
It's a done deal.
yeah.
Right on.
Oh,
Anything
I will.
else?
I will say I got scared from it because I thought we are gonna lose the gauntlet fighter, and I love that thing. Right when that pirate was pulling up on the engines of Bo-Katan's gauntlet fighter, and then all of a sudden Mando just like shoots up and just takes out the fighters. I love seeing the two of them work together, just the space battles. It's such a good time. And that capital ship just got fucking bombed. Holy shit. Oh, beautiful scene. Like they'll probably turn into a monument like IG-11 or something like that.
And he'll come and take it again.
Yeah.
Well, to S. Bob's point, if they build a monument, all the people that lost in Navarro, I wonder how many. It's just like an entire section of the town that's just statues of all these people. But yeah, S. Bob's, you're killing me tonight. Someone should ask Filoni and Favreau at Celebration how many people died on Navarro. I would like to know. I'd like to know statistics.
I would like to know. Yeah, 100%.
It's a big battle because that led to, which apparently Superman Mike was saying that Kirklin said this at the beginning of the season or something, that they're going to end up on Navarro living there, and he just gave them a piece of land. So that's why the planet's all empty, and he can just give the Mandalorians a piece of land and say, hey, this is empty, go take it. Now they're on Navarro, which is probably a better idea instead of doing baptisms in a fucking pool of water that has Mandalorian eating creatures, but whatever. So but yeah, they got a home now, so they have a home, but they're already trying to move. They finally got a place where they could stay, and then day one where they got a place they could stay, Armor's like, nah, let's get the fuck out of here, we got somewhere better. So that's where
I was actually calling the big Yosh that said that, not Superman.
I'll call him bigger. Sorry, Superman might take credit for it anyways. But you two call him. But no, what I was gonna say is that's where my hope is too, that there's the division between the two Mandalorian ranks, because you can't have maybe the questionable bad Mandalorians on Mandalore and then Din and his people that are the good ones on Navarro. Because I think if they're all just going to Mandalore, it's a very odd thing to have Carl Weathers do a 3-minute speech to give them a piece of land for them to be like, we're good. So that's why I think there's another sign of they're giving this land for a reason. They could just use it as like a base operations, but to me still it'd be very odd. And I feel like, that's just a waste of 3 minutes we never needed. If they literally just all go to Mandalore and they're happy, then they never come back. It's like, boom.
I agree, especially that they foreshadowed that early on, in the season of him like, oh yeah, no, you got the
belong here.
plot of land here, yeah, you
In the
belong
school.
here. And then the speech, as you're just mentioning, like this is, you found your home now, and then big applause and clap, just big slap in the face if he's like, okay, we're leaving tomorrow, we're going back to Mandalore.
And stuff because they're all helmets, but I just got the vibe that none of these Mandalorians were digging his speech.
Yeah,
They're all just
same.
look.
Everybody like
sentient
clapped
robots.
and cheered. They're just like, they did their little like,
They did their-
pound to
yeah.
the chest thing, but still. it
And
was-
then kill. Has anyone seen Mars Attacks?
oh yeah.
When they get the bird and they're like, oh, they're letting it go. That means they're here in peace. And they shoot it. I love when they do this. And the people in the bar are like, ah, yes, we're with it. And then right after, like,
those like hummingbird things, whatever the hell they're called.
just creep watch just the rest of Navarro get slaughtered in front of him, just destroyed by the Mandalorians. Even he looks over the side and Din Djarin just like
Grogu's just force choking.
that's how grief dies, little one. Oh. The city's ours.
Oh boy.
Okay, moving on.
I would just love to see the reception of the fan base the morning after of like Din and all the Mandalorians executed Grief.
Not
and
even the
his people.
finale. Not even the finale. Episode 5.
And that's where it shifts him off being the good guy because he has to take him down. Or like Charles. Charles is the good guy now, but oh fuck, I'm always gonna think. Anytime they do that chest bump now, I'm gonna think of the. It's just going off. Oh god,
Okay.
that was good.
Looking at my notes here. When the captain of the New Republic first received like that message from Grief, he was in like a pub or something with
School.
Yeah, he's in a school that they drink at anyways. But I don't know the name of the race of alien that he was with. I was kind of like, oh yeah, you're gonna go do that. Good luck. You're gonna need it. It's the same race of alien that's Cal's old master, right?
Yes.
Well, and there's a bigger thing to it, right, Taylor?
There is.
Ooh, tell me, inform me. I'm intrigued.
So in Star Wars Rebels, we meet this guy.
yeah, this guy.
Hey, I'm
Yeah,
blocked.
Zeb Aurelios is the name of this guy, and I believe his species is Lasat. And so yeah, and it's the same voice actor who voices this guy, same guy,
Ooh.
Zeb Aurelios. So this is another Rebels character that has made his way to live action.
Nice.
It's very cool that he ended up, fought in the rebellion, joined the New Republic, and all that. So this is another big indicator to me that Thrawn is going to be coming because we've been getting this whole season so far, and even season 2, we've been getting all these Easter eggs for Star Wars Rebels and all these little things being pulled in. And Thrawn is that piece of the puzzle, man. I'm telling you, Thrawn's coming. Where's that banner? Prop it up.
Okay, nice. So cool knowing that he actually is he's still coming. Nice to know that he has like ties there because I thought it was just an alien that I recognized like the race of. So it's cool to have the tie there. But I also just thought like he looked pretty good, honestly. At least for that scene.
Yeah, I agree.
It is hard to like.
Because they're going to
do,
use
like-
him again. That's why. Because
Yeah.
he'll be a recurring character at some point. Like, we got to make sure he looks mighty fine.
And he wasn't in it too much, so they probably had like a
Yeah.
lot of time just kind of polish that sequence. But I mean, Taylor, you just showed like the animated version and the live action. It's just like, damn, like they did a good job at adapting, even like the facial hair. I was pretty impressed with it. And I feel like majority of the time I find CGI jarring when they have like sunny environment or daylight, and he was like right in the sun, and yeah, he looked pretty damn good. So I was quite impressed with that. In that scene too, they had some just really like funky alien music of like an alien like singing or something, and I just love when they have that in Star Wars. It's very a good example is like the opening for Jedi Fallen Order. It has like Cal's listening to, like the song, and it's just this like alien like singing like an alien language, and it just has this like interesting vibe to it. I really hope they keep that a recurring thing in Star Wars. Of it's more immersive. You feel like you're actually not just, I don't know, listening to some funky pop song when you like straight up just hear like an alien voice in it. I really like that. Yeah. So looking at the rest of my notes here.
I luckily
Oh.
knew it was Zeb just because of watching Rebels. I recognized the voice, so I thought, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll be excited. Maybe he'll pop up in Ahsoka or what the deal is, or the crossover event that I think they're gonna do. But yeah, cool.
he seemed pretty like, well, the light was on him, but it seemed like they're shining a light on him. That's where I was like, oh my god, he's gonna pair up with like this captain, and like this is gonna be fun to have this guy. So I was a little bit let down when he just stayed back, but it makes sense knowing that he has. Maybe he's got bigger fish to fry.
They're gonna have to take down the Mandalorians after they execute Greef and his people.
Did you hear about that? Yeah, like, fucking genocide.
Your friend Charles, the one you let go.
There's a few more characters that I'm sure we're gonna be seeing around, including another member of the Star Wars like Phoenix crew from Rebels. You have, of course, Zeb. You have Ezra. We have a Mandalorian.
Phoenix crew.
Sabine. So Sabine Wren. It's going to be interesting to see when she's going to pop up, because last we saw her, she was teaming up with Ahsoka to go find Ezra. And then we got Hera Syndulla, which I think out of the Star Wars community, I think Hera is definitely a fan favorite of the crew for many people that really, really are invested in Star Wars Rebels. So,
Well,
and again,
sounds like she's cast.
What's that?
I think she's cast. The rumor
Well,
is that's the rumor that who Mary Elizabeth Winstead's playing.
Yes, yeah, that is the rumor. Yeah, so I think that's what people are really, really stoked to see, because I think that she's cast as someone for the Ahsoka show, at least. That's where she's appearing. So.
I said who it is, and you said someone.
No, not we don't know for Hera, but
No,
like
we
that's
don't.
where Winstead's being like she's cast in the Ahsoka show.
That's what's going to be very interesting is stuff like this, and I'll be I'm almost happy that because we probably won't have time if Kirklin doesn't watch Rebels before to see how he will react in those things, like, because you're bringing 3 to 4 characters at least that have all these established backstories of different seasons, and I guess even 5 with Ahsoka, and like how do they make? I think there's a way to do it by making it just lore and conversation and whatnot, but there is lots of moving pieces with it of like, oh yeah, this character, but it's like lots of people aren't going to know who these people are, and then Ahsoka, and even then not that they don't know who she is, but I'm sure not everyone gonna watch Ahsoka has seen the entirety of Clone Wars, so.
I saw this and just immediately thought of that Resident Evil sequence. Did a full one.
Yeah, they should get
Moff
really
Gideon comes back. He's
Yeah.
dancing.
Because he did a full 180. He's on the good side now. I'll be one of your good agents. You can trust me. Anything else?
Do you know the answer to that? Blue flight suit? Is that a rank or type of ship you class?
I don't think it's necessarily a rank. I think it's just they come in like green, blue, and orange. So I think it's just whatever the pilot prefers. He's a big guy, so he gets a big suit.
Yeah.
Big guy, big suit.
There was a moment when they were going to Navarro, all the Mandalorians, and Bo was giving this like powerful speech, and it ended. I don't know why. I just took it this way, just the way that my brain works. But she said something like, "Oh, we can all rise up and be heroes," and just like the lead up to it, I was just picturing this like coming out in like an early 2000s setting, and it's just like that's like the commercial break. You got some "There goes my hero," especially just like leading into like the big action sequence. It's like, man, I got the vibe for sure, but not in like the most badass way possible. I don't know, just that speech kind of made me chuckle again. Just
say that
bringing in my own ridiculous.
Not gonna stand and wait.
It would have fit so well with that. I got to make my own cut of that version.
Haven't lost fun. That's great song, Hero from Spider-Man. Nickelback, their only great one. Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, they got some good ones. Come on now, underrated.
Let's not go there. That's a whole.
Let's talk about that another day.
That's a whole another conversation. Anything else? Well, we will be back next week for episode 6 of The Mandalorian. See what's going on with Moff. See if we see Bo-Katan. See what's going on with Grogu, Mando, Greef. See if he gets his people executed or not. Maybe we don't even see Greef next episode. Who knows? But we'll be back. It'll not be boring. And may the Force be with you.
Always.